Wonder Woman. Today, the Wonder Woman with us is Leena Barack Kulkarni. You're all familiar with her work in recent past, writing travel logs for all of us at WiP. She is the founder of a social enterprise called Advaita Handicrafts, and which is helping artisans lead life with dignity. And she's also founder of Open Skies, an outdoor leadership program for children. She's a writer, artist, and an avid trekker. And when I read her resume, I saw she has been receiving a lot of rewards and accolades as a very iconic alumni of her institute. Welcome, Leena.
Thank you, ma'am. It's such a pleasure to be here and to talk to you today.
Yeah, we have been interacting, Leena, and I have been very impressed with the way you write and all the work that you've been doing. But once again, when I went through your resume last night, I found it really inspirational. And I think we should have done this thing live, because I think the energies over chai that we would have exchanged. So that is something that we need to do as we go forward. Okay, I wanted to tell all members at WiP that all the work that she does, she's a people's person, and she loves working with the weavers, children, artisans, and she herself is a creative artist. I like that, and she's in the process of writing a book. She's been working in her home state of Orissa for quite some time, and all this started about almost a decade back, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I started in 2013 when I quit HDFC, and yeah, so it's been a good 9 years. Yeah.
All right. Okay, Leena, I'm going to start with asking you, tell me about your childhood and your journey thus far.
Okay. Well, my childhood, so I am a native of Orissa, though I've not really lived in Orissa because my father was in the Indian Navy and we traveled all across India. But that really gave me a good grounding in the sense that, you know, it exposed me to different kinds of sport. And of course, I think naval children are brought up in a way that, you know, we can do a lot of small talk and we are comfortable in any situation that you put us in. So I would say, you know, my childhood was a very active and a very happy one. Though I was, you know, constantly stressed about achieving something always. I mean, I had to be the first in class. I had to be the best in everything. That's something I wish I could undo because I really changed as a person now, and that's not how I view things. But yes, my childhood was a good, happy one. And we traveled a lot, and I think that's also kind of given me this, it gave me a small flavor of, you know, seeing different cities and moving around India, and that's why I love our country so much, and I love to travel as well. So yeah, that's a bit about my childhood. And my journey thus far, well, currently, like you know, said in your introduction, I am an entrepreneur. I run two businesses, and Advaita Handicrafts happened first. It was during a visit to my hometown when I was still working with HDFC. I happened to, you know, take a break. In fact, I went on a sabbatical. I wasn't very happy with what I was doing, you know, because I'd been in the same role for about 4 years and I wanted a change, and it's not so easy to get a change. So I took a break and I happened to visit Orissa. I said, okay, let me just, you know, reconnect with my roots. And I went visiting a few villages, and there are these Dhokra artisans. Basically, these artisans prepare Dhokra artifacts, they're brass artifacts. And everything is made by hand except for the last stage where, you know, we use a buff machine to polish the artifacts. And I had seen a lot of these artifacts in cottage emporiums across, you know, India, Mumbai, more importantly. And I was stunned to learn that, you know, they were willing to sell it to me at a price I would think unthinkable. You know, I mean, something that I knew sold for like 5,000 rupees, I was getting there for almost 800. And I was shocked to also see the conditions in which they lived. You know, wo mitti ke ghar, thatched roofs.
Sure.
And I said, you know, you create such beautiful products, and, you know, I kind of understood that they weren't getting the due. The market rates were something else and they were getting, you know, something else. So I saw the challenging conditions in which they lived, and I said, you know, I can, you know, act as an intermediary here and maybe play this role of, you know, one, trying to get into fair pricing, see how I can give them a fair price for their produce, and of course also market these products, which I knew there was a demand for. So yeah, that's how I basically moved from my corporate career into an entrepreneur's role. I started Advaita in 2014. Actually, before that, I did a lot of groundwork, traveling villages, etc. And it's been a very satisfying journey. For me, Advaita is basically a labor of love. It's not something that I started to make money. That was never the objective. So it's been very satisfying because I've been able to work with many artisans. I've added many products through the years, and it feels good. While I won't say my turnover is great, but I know the impact that I have created at the ground level. There are these artisans will swear by me and they're willing to do anything for me. And when I go to Orissa, I'm welcomed into their homes, into their families. And I think, I think that's like the biggest reward that I could ask for what I've done. So yeah, it's been very satisfying. And of course, I must give credit to HDFC. It gave me the security, the financial security to basically not look at my venture as a money-making venture because of the ESOPs, etc. I was financially secure and I could do what I really love doing. So that, and then yes, Advaita gave me more time for myself. Of course, a corporate career doesn't allow you that, and I could pursue all my other creative interests. I could go trekking. This connection that I've now found with nature. I mean, these are things that I could really take up. So I would say I'm at the happiest place I could ever hope to be in these 45 years. Yeah.
I'm into that. Let that be really what everyone gets through following their passion. But you've said it so humbly and simply that this is how, but that I'm just trying to wonder from that day, that plight of those artisans in Dokra, which must have created that compelling this need for you to leave the corporate life and start this, that few months of journey of agonizing over should I not, and creating a whatever the mission values of the company that you ought to be conceiving. That must have been really a terrific perhaps sleepless nights into how I'm going to do it, how am I going to do it, because whenever I speak to people that how did they end up creating, it's usually about really wondering and saying, now is the time. And you had very small children, or did you even have children by then?
I did. My son was in 2013. I think he was about 6. Yeah. And my daughter was 2.5, 3. She was 3. Yeah.
Because people usually say that wait till they grow up and then go, and you dived right into it. And this is something which I find very inspiring, that you took the plunge at the right time and you knew that you had the fire in your belly to chase these dreams. And you're not talking about the various projects like Happy Feet and all that you follow, which I saw in your resume. So I think you're doing endless projects. These are 2 big enterprises that you run. The other one we'll talk about later. But I think it's fascinating. Tell me about your milestones in this last 8 odd years.
Okay, so honestly, I had my only reason, as they say, the reason to start this business was twofold. One was to help the artisans earn a fair living, and 2, I saw we have a lot of crafts in Orissa which I don't see outside, and I think they are dying crafts, especially crafts like the silver filigree work, or there's an art form called Pattachitra. Of course, they are now gaining recognition because there are many entrepreneurs like me who are also entering the field, and they see a market there. So the real mission of my company is sustenance of the artisan and the art form. And in terms of milestones, I would say it has always been to create an impact in terms of helping more number of artisans. So this far, Advaita started in 2014, and we've been able to work with quite a few corporates. We are also into retail, and we sell our products through our own website and internationally. But the idea was always to create a greater impact. So I think from zero, we moved to be now at about close to 133 artisans that we have helped this far. And when I say artisans, it's not an individual artisan. For us, an artisan means an artisan household, because it's the whole house and the household income that we are impacting when we're giving orders. And it's not that usko ek baar humne kaam de diya to wo hum count kar lete hain. Basically, these are artisans who we would have given substantial amount of work in these last 8 years through our corporate orders, or these are artisans who regularly work with us and service the orders that we get. So we are at 133, and very initially in my, when I just made this transition into entrepreneurship, I used to worry, I have to touch a number, And thankfully, we all are so business.
We all came from a banking background and a bank which was known for numbers. Believe me, it takes time to get over that.
Right. We're so target oriented that if this is the objective of the business philosophy, even that is measured in numbers. So while money was not, the objective, but, I was like, nahin, or artisans. But then I realized that or artisans, it has to be meaningful. It's not, like I said, a tick marking exercise. So in these, 8 full years, we have, like I said, helped about 133 artisans, and we work with them regularly. Of course, the objective is to go to 1,000. I think that's a good number, but that's like a 10-fold increase. But I see the way we are poised right now, I think we are at an inflection point where I see us moving much faster, So it's always slow growth up to a point, and then there's a tipping point where, you really start accelerating. So I see Advaita at that level right now, and I hope we can do that.
Leena, while you are working in this kind of a social enterprise, what is your reading of the landscape of the Indian craft industry? What is going on in the background? That, I see this when the pandemic struck and we saw this, reverse thing of all the immigrants going back to the States. That's the time we all realized that how many lakhs were there in a place like Bombay itself. And every day you were seeing that how many of them were there. So, and you have been closely associated with this. So I just want to understand from you that how do you read this entire landscape of the Indian craftsmen?
Honestly, I think it's a good movement that's happening. While my political beliefs are very different, and I may not agree with what's happening, on a national level. There's a very nationalist agenda which I possibly don't agree with. But the good thing that's happening with all the made in India, the vocal for local, drives and movements is that people are definitely waking up to crafts and local crafts and buying local, and I see these movements are very strong in Europe especially, and Australia, where they are willing to pay a premium for absolutely, for local products, and they understand imperfections in local products. But in India it was very different till now. And I think the pandemic, while, the artisans suffered heavily, we also didn't do well at all during the pandemic. But yes, we are reviving now. But I think the pandemic has somewhere changed the outlook of people. And, they are, I think we are trying to be more humane, possibly having gone through some stress and struggle ourselves, in our own lives. So I see the scenario very positively, and hence I said, I believe we are poised to do better in future. And I also see, in fact, a lot of women entrepreneurs have come into the craft sector.
Yes, I find it very encouraging, actually.
Yeah, very encouraging. And, the way I look at it is I welcome everybody who's coming in, because we're all, hum wo boond hai sagar mein. And if we really,
there is place for everyone. Actually, I keep telling people there is place for everyone. There's so much to do. And that's incredible. Exactly.
Absolutely. So I don't see them as competition, and I don't know. I wish that we didn't see each other as competition, because there is so much that we can all do individually and all survive. That if we collaborate, there's a lot more that can be achieved, and I'm quite happy to have more and more people jumping into the sector.
We do have quite a few members within WiP. We should do a kind of collaborative effort there. Now, moving from a corporate role into being an entrepreneur, there are a lot of skill sets which are very, very different, and nothing prepares you as just jumping into it and then realizing that this is something I hadn't done before. What are those skill sets that you found yourself which are lost in, and how did you go about getting hang of it?
Okay, I think that's a very good question. The skill sets you require are very, very different. Like you said, the first thing is, motivating yourself every day. Because, in a corporate role, you will get up and show up at work. Here you have the luxury to take it easy. But, then you don't want to take it easy because there's a certain reason why you're doing this. And I think working alone, I believe the journey of an entrepreneur, especially like a sole founder like myself, because I founded Advaita myself and I'm still on my own. I don't have partners in this business. It's a very lonely journey because I have to decide, what product line do I want to get into? Is this product line making money? Is this not? So all the decisions are something that, while I have good advisors, my husband and, a couple of friends are very close to me. But the final responsibility of making it work is, of course, mine. And यहाँ पे किसी और पे चिल्ला नहीं सकते क्यों नहीं हुआ, because you're responsible for it. And of course, बाकी सब, everything you have to do on your own. Get a printout, you have to do it. So when I started, I used to ship my own products. I had no help.
That's true.
But it teaches you a lot, and it teaches you how to embrace a lot of failure and how to handle stress, because you've shipped an order, the client is not happy, and then you say, okay, now what do I do? And you of course learn through the way, on the way. And that's how it's been. I hope I've been able to answer.
No, of course. And so what are your plans for Advaita in the coming future?
For Advaita, like I said, I mean, we are slowly, now I'm focusing a lot more on handloom. When I started, I didn't start with handloom. I started with, home decor products and handmade jewelry. But now I'm looking at focusing on handloom a lot more. That's one on the product front. But otherwise, I think I'm looking at expanding internationally. We do ship internationally. We are on Etsy. Yeah, we're on Amazon.com as well. But I'm looking at, doing a few international craft fairs and, looking at some bulk orders internationally. And of course, corporate gifting is the other big avenue. Like I said, for us, it's most important that we get bulk orders in so that our impact is higher. Of course, retail always gives you a lot more profits, but like I said, profit is not what we're looking at. We're looking at making a greater impact in terms of numbers and volumes. So the idea is to increase the volumes internationally.
I know behind every successful woman and a woman who's a go-getter, there's a fantastic support system. How did you go about putting yours?
Well, yeah, I've been very lucky to have very supportive in-laws and a husband, of course, because, we liked each other and it's a love marriage. So we understood each other very well. And luckily for me, my husband, Rahul, first was the one who ventured out first on his own. So 2006 is when he started his venture and I started in 2013. And he had, gone through this journey of being an entrepreneur, and he was there to really help me and guide me and support me. And of course, like I said, my in-laws have been very, very supportive. They live with me. My father-in-law is no more, but my mother-in-law, I think, has helped me more than my mother, if I may say that. She's been through both my deliveries. She's taken care of both my kids. And even now, if I want to take off, for an artisan visit, or I just have to go to Orissa for something urgent, or I want to travel, I want to take a break, I know she has my back and she's there for me. So yeah, like you rightly said, had she not been there, I don't think I would have been able to do it.
I think such decisions and such choices can be made only when you have a support system which agrees to that. Okay, now one for the WiP members, which we always ask. What is your success mantra?
What's my success mantra? I think it is to be authentic, no matter what. When I say be authentic, it's about being authentic to yourself and to your clients. And it could be that we don't have ambition, so then be authentic and genuine to yourself about that you don't want to do it, or you want to do it. If you want to do it, you have to be authentic to yourself. And I think if that's the philosophy you have in life, then you are sorted for most of it. So that's my mantra. That's how I look at life.
That's what you are, Leena. That is what you are. What you have come to know of you in the last few months, I think is a genuine person who touches hearts, connects people, is full of energy, and very, very authentic yourself. Bless you for whatever you are doing, and this bit of reviving the really craftsmanship and sustaining what the artisans do in their art form is tremendously noble vision. And I really wish you all the very best from all of us. And when you are here with us, we'll keep celebrating your milestones as well. All the very best. Pleasure to host you today. Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much to have me here with you today.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So don't go away. In the second part of us hosting Leena again as a founder of Open Skies. Wait, we'll post this next week.